froze up. We've had to replace a few things, but we've got everything back up and going again. And we're lucky to have the public safety sales tax money to help us get back where we need to be again. So that's all I have, unless there's questions.
Well, thank you for what you have to say. Has anybody got any questions?
What's the typical cause this time of year for that? I know you said you had a chimney one. What's been hitting us hard?
In this cold weather, a lot of people have a hard time keeping their houses warm. They use a lot of heated blankets and space heaters, and they overload electrical. We called in investigators on the one on North Summit, and we haven't got the official report back. But it's essentially it's most of them are going to be electrical in nature, or sometimes space heaters, electrical in nature. I know the one on Willow Street was a space heater plugged into extension cord as well. Yeah. And then, of course, our flue fires, 2 of them were flue fires. And that's just, if you're going to burn wood, make sure you get your chimneys cleaned out and keep them up in shape. So when it gets cold, it's tough. And unfortunately, that's when people use the most of that stuff, and that's when fires happen the most, and that's when they're the least fun to fight. So
Is your software, has it been updated completely, or all the data inputted? I know the last time we were talking about that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
The software, you guys had to input data for your software?
For the trainings.
Yeah.
Is that all done?
Yeah, for structure fire specifically, we have to do we do an inverse report on every call we run, but structure fires get all that information gets sent into the state. So the inverse reports are public knowledge. If anybody wants to see them, all they have to do is request it, and we can print off a public compliant inverse, or what's called a media release inverse report. So any of that's public knowledge.
You're just wondering if you're caught up so that from your backlog to your new system.
Yeah. And so the reports get put into this system as soon as the calls are done now. And then once a month, we just go through and QI them for quality to make sure all the information is correct and everything. And once they're marked off as QI, it automatically goes to the state.
Glad you got that going. Glad we can work on grants now. So.
Yeah, which as grants, we have gotten the grant to buy some gear. It was through the Kansas State Fire Marshal's office. So the grant allows for new gear to be purchased, and they cover 100% of it. And it is for members that are volunteers and that have been on the department for less than 18 months, or any new member that we bring on. And they have to go through a comprehensive, what's called an NFPA 1582 physical. And so the physicals have been done on all of them, and they've all been approved. So now the state has sent us a list of the approved vendors. There's only a couple places that we can buy it, and we just got to pick which one we're going to go with, and the rep will send somebody down beside our guys, and we'll get gear. And,
Is that going to be enough gear? Or are you going to use the sales tax money to buy more gear as well?
We need to replace more gear, but this will get us started. We don't want to purchase any additional gear until we figure out what gear we're going to go with in this grant, because we want all of our gear to match. So once we choose what we feel is going to be the best out of, I think there's 5 options. Once we choose what we feel is going to be the best, we're planning on buying a couple sets of gear. That way it doesn't all expire at one time again, like our gear did this time. So, but it is, gear is expensive. It's going to cost $3,800 or so per person to outfit them. So any new members we can get on this grant
Well, it
for
sounds
right
like you
now,
guys
as
are
long as
making
it's still available.
very good use of the funds that are coming in.
Do it.
It sounds like you guys are making really good use
Yeah.
of the funds that are
Yeah,
coming in.
we're doing what we can. So, all right, any more questions?
So make sure you got enough gloves and ear protection.
Yeah, so we got we had a fire on Summit Street.
That's what I heard.
You take your gloves off to take a break, and your gloves are just freeze solid. You couldn't get them back on. We had to send somebody back to the station to go get our big supply.
Might carry them
We got
with
a
you
tote
next
full of
time
gloves
it's
and bring it back to the
10
scene.
degrees.
So,
Yeah, I got a report about that. So.
do it.
I got a report about that.
Oh yeah, yeah. We had to send somebody back to the station. We had other departments using our gloves because they were all the holes theirs were frozen too. So
Just make sure you got enough.
yeah. So, All right, anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Good evening. For those that don't know, I'm Chief Roberts with Girard PD. I'm going to go over, I'm not going to go into detail about the calls, obviously, but I didn't double check with our dispatch, but from what I counted, we had approximately 25 calls since last council meeting, so approximately 2 weeks worth. We had 2 assist citizens, 1 lost and found property, 1 non-injury accident, 1 hit and run accident. To add to that, we're looking for a blue older model truck with a white stripe down the side. If anybody sees that, has any information, be sure to reach out to the PD. We had 1 sex offense that's technically an assist other agency as it wasn't committed in our jurisdiction. We had 2 fire structure calls, and he already spoke on that. We had 1 theft, 2 animal complaints, 4 ambulance/fire assists. Anytime there's a medical in Girard, I've asked dispatch to send the officer as well if we're available. That way they can have their hands on the patient and we can get information and supplies that they might need. So that way they're tending to them and we're assisting. We've had 2 traffic stops. 1 ended in an arrest. The other was a warning for headlights. So wear your headlights when it's snowing, or use your headlights when it's snowing. 2 other warrant arrests, 2 domestic disturbance calls, 1 ending in an arrest. The other had additional charges for other participants. We had a vehicle check, a civil issue, trespassing, a welfare check, and a vehicle unlock. All this was primarily done in the 2 days that we were having a blizzard. So it was amazing being outside in that. As you'll hear, once the agenda moves along, the PD has created a ride-along policy that will hopefully create a positive experience for both the officer and the rider. The ride-along program is intended for educational purposes and community outreach purposes. This has been in the works for a while. It's just only recently that I finally got it finished. However, we're probably going to put it on the back burner because we've found some more things we want to add to it and change. We've also come up with a recruitment tool that will hopefully be approved once voted on tonight. This will allow Girard PD to have more opportunities for recruitment that's outside the box. The 2014 Dodge Ram, some of you may know, some of you may not. It's been broke down for quite a while. Engine needs to be replaced. So our plan is to sell it. I provided the information on that and the photos to Johanna so we can get that posted for sale. And additional to that, any equipment that we had in it, we've taken out and we can sell separate. Maybe we can get some funds for that and then we can reuse it to replenish stuff back in the PD. On the 2025 Dodge Durango that you guys approved for us to order, I don't have a whole lot of new information on it. I can tell you that on January 8th, when I got an update, he had said we'll see it in 8 to 10 weeks. So that puts it at March 4th, which will be next week. So hopefully I'll hear something next week. So at the next council meeting, you'll know whether I have a new Durango or not. Another item that you'll see on the agenda is a potential purchase of a 2020 Ford Explorer. I'm hoping to use our portion of the half-cent sales tax to purchase this because it's not going to be very much out of the budget. It's got approximately 55,000 miles on it. They only want $15,000 for it. I've reached out to them. There's absolutely no mechanical issues with it. The vehicle will come equipped with cage, lights, siren, console with mounts, gun locks, etc. The only thing being removed is the radar and the radio, which we have both of because I just took them out of our Dodge and they'll just fit right in. It's located in Prairie Village, so once they get me a firm schedule, myself and Terry are going to go and take an in-person look at it and make a determination there, and hopefully we can bring some information back for you and get another vehicle, because I think having an additional vehicle will also be appealing to applicants, potentially having take-homes. So if we can get enough, everybody will be able to take one home. Municipal court, I don't really have any other updates other than we did get a new clerk hired. Her training was supposed to start last week, but the office was closed. So, and then when she did return, she was ill. So hopefully we'll get her back on top of training, and I'll have a new update for you on municipal court the next council meeting. For codes, we have a couple of homes for consideration to be condemned. 6 locations. I can read the addresses if you'd like, if you think that's beneficial. Okay. 304 West Buffalo, 309 West Buffalo, 411 South Cherokee, 601 East Forest, 513 South Park, 700 South Summit. I think he probably meant to put North Summit because it has fire next to it. Code violations, certified letters that we've sent out. 200 North Summit for trash, 400 South Ozark for trash, 501 South Osage for trash, 613 West St. John for trash, 0000 North Summit for trash, 821 South Ozark for inoperable untagged vehicle, 416 West Southwestern inoperable untaggable vehicle. On the 18th, there was a variance committee meeting that he attended, and on the 20th, there was a planning and zoning meeting that he attended. I do have plans in the works with him to do kind of like a code saturation. So he and I will pick a day that we're both available, and we'll go through the entire city and make sure we've gotten all the locations that need a letter sent out, check all the codes, make sure everything's that way he has an additional person helping him out too. And that way we can make sure we haven't missed anything. So that's all we have.
On how it's being condemned, the fire department, if possible, on some of those, would like to be able to use them for training before they get tore down. If there's a possibility, the owners are willing, or if the city is doing it, the city is willing.
Okay. We can probably sit down, have a talk with Johanna about that. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Moving on to item D, to approve police officer 3 job description.
The new pay scale is going to affect March 1st, and we had already approved a pay scale for police officer 3. The reason we didn't want those to go into effect till March 1st is because we still needed to finalize the police officer 3 job description. I finished that while we were working from home. I sent it to Sierra for review. She had me change a couple things, and I think we're both satisfied with it now. We just added further requirements above officer 2, and we added in some possible certs. So that was all that changed.
Mr. Mayor, motion that we approve the police officer 3 job description as presented.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item F, approve police department ride-along policy. You say you wanted to
Yeah,
table
I
that.
think Steve and Sierra saw a couple things they might want to change on that, and also Steve wanted Karen to talk with Pam about the insurance. So we table that one till whenever next time, I guess.
For the next meeting.
Yeah, I think we don't need more than 2 weeks, do we?
No.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I motion that we table the police department ride-along policy until our March 10th meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item G, approve police department loan repayment policy.
Sierra and I had previously discussed if an applicant has gone through LEO school, Missouri Southern in particular, right, since it's close, and has graduated and they are eligible for reciprocity at KLATC, that actually saves the department a lot of money not having to put someone through KLATC. And we have a little bit more confidence, I think, that they'll finish, because I know we've had issues with officers, actually not officers, but employees going through KLATC and not finishing. But I'm assuming if they finish the whole LEO program, we can be pretty confident that they'll pass KLATC. This is what I came up with. I know Sierra was really busy, and I think there might be some updates on this she would like to see. But we were hoping we could go ahead and get this passed so we could start marketing it and trying to hire officers.
Yeah.
And maybe in the future change it from a loan repayment to just a retention bonus. So instead of after a year doing $3,000 direct payment on their student loan, just say, hey, If you've already paid off your student loan, this is just
That
money
makes
for your
sense.
pocket.
Now, this is strictly for just their law enforcement training?
Yes, and they have to be eligible for reciprocity, because that, if they're eligible for reciprocity, the way Sierra explained it, it's a 2-week, right?
Just a 2-week online course.
Yes,
And
and it's
safety
much
testing
cheaper
first.
than the,
Test in person, I think they have to shoot.
Nope, not in reciprocity.
Okay,
You can shoot with the department.
gotcha.
If they've already paid off their student loan, the reward is what?
So if they've already paid off their student loan, all we're doing is paying them back for going and getting their own
Oh, so I
schooling.
mean, it's a 3,000 bonus to them.
They're, yeah,
Okay.
pretty much paying them back for getting their schooling, because it's cheaper for them to go to a different, school than it is to
Okay.
KLETC.
the way it
It's
is written is it's
probably
a,
what, close, probably roughly 50% less doing it this way.
So I'm gonna give you some fake numbers, but if we send an officer, with us to the academy, it's a 14-week program and it would cost us out of pocket $10,000. If somebody goes to, let's say, MSSU and they pay out of pocket for their own certification there, they're paying at most $6,000.
Hmm.
And then all they have to do is come over here, take a 2-week online testing. They can work while they're doing their online testing. So we're not paying somebody for not
Yeah.
being here. And so we're saving essentially $4,000 to just buy their training from somewhere
Yeah.
else.
It's a no-brainer. It's a great incentive.
so I think in the way I wrote the policy, since it was a repayment policy, do we need to change that to just say retention bonus?
The council can do it however they want. If they wanted to amend
I
the
think it'd be,
policy in their motion, they could even do that and pass that if you wanted to do that. I don't see any issues with that, and that way it might give you some flexibility that you need.
yeah,
And if this is approved, I plan to contact neighboring schools that offer law enforcement certification to come and speak to students who are about to graduate to see if they have any interest in relocating, working in this area. Kind of like a job fair.
Sierra, why did you do the 3 years? Is that because that would match, or basically match the required?
The minimum, like, cost that it costs for them to go to school.
we did the 3 years because we were hoping they will stay for 3 years.
Yeah.
Because they know they're getting that payment at the end.
Yeah, because they don't get paid until the end of the first year.
We don't want to give them all at once for one
Yeah.
year and then they
And
leave.
then have to
That
wait.
makes sense. I was just wondering if it was 9
Because that's pretty
months.
much what we're doing right now. Officers go to the KLETC, we pay 10 grand, they leave after a year, because that's all they have to be committed for.
The last one was 13 grand.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot.
Plus we're paying transport, aren't we?
Yeah,
For them to
transportation.
drive
Yeah,
down
so
there,
those
drive
numbers
back,
aren't even including transportation and
all the other extras.
and food if they have to stop to eat.
I think it's a good idea. I just didn't know if 3 years was enough time with the cost. Does that average about 9,000? You believe?
I think they'll probably be paying less than that, because I think she put in there up to 3,000.
So it's
but
just
that's because I wrote it as a payment on student loan. Now I'm thinking it needs to be just a retention bonus where they get it either way. Where they
I
get the
can find
3,000.
out, I can find better numbers from the colleges
Maybe we do that.
Yeah.
to see exactly how much it's costing
Right.
students.
I
You
looked
want to
it
pass
up
it now
on.
and then amend it later, or do you want to?
I am good with the $3,000 a year for now, and then we can. Are you? Just so that we can get something
I
passed
think
tonight,
maybe
and
if
if
you
we need
think
to
about
change it.
this, I see like 3,000 every year, but what if it was more like 3,000 the first year and then 2,000, 2,000, and then 2,000, like that way you get that fourth year in there. So even if you're lessening it, they still know they're getting something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, so maybe we do that lump at the beginning and then we just kind of teeter it down. Maybe we can even do 1,500 and they know that they're getting that 1,500 at the 5th year, so that they're still getting something. Because even if they're not using it for student loans, it's still a bonus at the end of that year. And maybe by then, they're 5 years here, they're hooked, they're a sergeant, they're, you know what I mean, rather than just do the $3,000 for the 3 years. So maybe we should just take it out a little bit further and Because if you have someone here 5 years, like, they're more likely to stay.
So we want to change it to a retention bonus and carry it out further, or I think we definitely change it to a retention bonus, and then council needs to decide how many years and how much money each year.
Because I think.
Sarah and I did the 3,000 a year. I looked up MSSU's tuition. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I think it was a little bit less than 9,000. Do you remember?
I think it's.
It was right
it's
around
definitely
that.
Gone up. But I think you're, I have it right now.
Yeah. So that's kind of how we settled on 9,000.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure the council will be aware of it and stuff, but I've been kind of keeping up on it. Law enforcement right now is hard to retain people in one place. What they'll do, they'll start out somewhere, get their training. If they can go somewhere else and make more money, they're doing. Pittsburgh right now is paying a $2,500 bonus, sign-on bonus. They said they've been shorthanded for approximately 10 years on patrolmen. I mean, that's just the thing. It's just getting hard to get people to stay in the profession or keep them moving from place to place. So there needs to be some type of a program that retains these people. So we're not training them somebody every year or every 2 years.
So I think maybe we need to look into it a little bit further, and maybe we can extend that and keep them, like I said, for more than 3 years. But if it's not we're not making that direct payment, it's got a whole nother status, because it can be a police officer got rid of himself that just wants to, come to a smaller town or relocate, or it's not a college student, you know what I'm saying?
If they do pass it tonight, can they amend it to be a retention bonus instead
Sure.
of a direct payment?
Sure.
Yeah,
And then I
I
can
agree
make
with.
and then I can make the
But do we need to
change.
talk about a sign-on bonus as well, if that's gonna be what it takes to compete?
I think that's what this is gonna end up being.
No,
Sort
this
of,
will be
because
a-
this is
a
mainly
In
just for
addition,
people
in
who-
Only
addition
sent it.
to
Yeah,
loan.
because
If we do a sign-on bonus, that's probably gonna cover people who have already been certified for many years.
Right.
So that would probably be
That's what I'm saying with
a
this.
different policy. So we could write a policy up for that too
We can do that, yeah.
and have it for next time. But yeah, I would say with the sign-on bonus, they would need to be fully certified already, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass the, what do we call it, the loan repayment, so it's going to be called the Borough Police Department
bonus.
retention.
Yeah, retention bonus. Sounds like a good
Retention
name
bonus.
to me.
Retention bonus policy.
As presented with any needed well, I'm going to say that, because we like this, but you guys want to look at the,
I would say we're only changing the direct payment of student loan to a retention bonus.
Okay.
I think
with
that's,
the modification of changing the direct payment towards the student loan to a retention bonus.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.